The reign of Black Frieza has begun, and as a result, we've got a brand new merchandise line. The Black Frieza Wreck Everyone and Leave t-shirt, hoodie, and various other types of merch available right now in the Geekdom 101 store. Will Frieza play Goku and Vegeta like a puppet? We'll find out soon. Right now, it comes in various sizes and colors, ships pretty much everywhere in the world. The link is down in the description. Get your hands on the limited edition Black Frieza Wreck Everyone and Leave merch line. I love this design and I hope you do too. The other day I posed a question in the community tab. I know it says here 9 hours ago, but by the time this video goes up it'll be a few days. And I asked all of you if you could change one thing, only one thing about Dragon Ball Superhero, what would it be? So I want to go over some of the replies here because I find them very interesting. Obviously, we're here in the community tab talking to the community, the Geekdom 101 subscribers, and I thank you as always for your support. So I'm going to read some of these. So Paul Rapolo says, Perfect Cell was not just a rage monster and had class. I wanted Cell to have PTSD somehow when seeing Gohan transform into Beast. Now, I'm going to read the next one because these are both linked together. I would probably say the development of Cell Max, allowing him to be perfect when released. This would in turn show more of Beast Gohan most likely. So a lot of people, these are not the only two, y'all. I read through a lot of these. A lot of people, if they were writing Dragon Ball Superhero, they would have had Cell Max become perfect. And I understand why, because then you have like a real solid throwback to the Cell saga, and the idea that Cell still remembers somehow, Dr. Hito found one of Cell's microchips or one of his cells and he somehow remembered Gohan. I don't know how it would have worked, but a lot of folks wanted that. And I don't think we're ever going to get that outside of maybe like Dragon Ball Heroes. I don't think they're ever going to redo this, but you have to understand something. I want y'all to really think about this. Like, I understand why you want Perfect Cell Max, but if Perfect Cell Max were in this movie, the movie would have to be longer. And unfortunately, because of how Toei Animation does things, and overall the animation world often follows this rule, you can't really do a movie that's too long animated. Now, I wish that were not the case, and there have been a few longer animated films, but Dragon Ball movies are usually about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 180 minutes. Sometimes they're longer, right? Sometimes they're a little over an hour and a half, but they usually don't go to 2 hours. In fact, no Dragon Ball movie's ever been 2 hours. So even though I wish that were the case, that would change the entire complexity of the movie, and it would make Cell Max a different kind of villain. Now, again, I'm not against the idea. It's just you have to understand, if we make that change, it's going to be like a very, it'll be a very different movie. Very different. It actually changes a lot about the film. So, I Was Born Yesterday says, more meaning and emotion behind new transformation rather than just boom, new forms. Well, the Piccolo one was explained in the film. The Gohan one was not. But one thing you have to remember is that even though the Gohan transformation was a little bit of an ass pull, I've said that many times, they was emotional, right? In that, he saw his uncle, I guess you can say, his mentor, Piccolo. Some are going to say his real dad because, that's a funny meme. Haha, it's not. But, you know what I mean? Like Piccolo, they're going to say Piccolo meant so much to Gohan and the dude freaking, dies in front of him and that gets him emotional, or he thinks he died. But I will say that I do agree in that I think it could have been executed better. So there was emotion there, but I think if they would have had a situation where Cell Max threatened the life of Videl or Pan, specifically Pan, I think if Gohan maybe thought that Pan was dead and then he became Gohan Beast, that probably would have worked out better for the audience. And it would have been a real thing to do that. But I think the issue is that even though Dragon Ball Superhero had blood and it's a little bit targeted towards the old school fan and the hardcores, I think having a kid die, even though we've seen it happen in Dragon Ball, we've seen this. I mean, we've seen Goten and Trunks die in the Buu saga. We've seen it's happened, right? Krillin, well, he wasn't really a kid, but he was young. he was like a teenager. He died in Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? They're not gonna show Pan like a 3-year-old dying. I just don't see that. If they did, it'd be some balls. I would go nuts over it, but I just don't see that being the case. Even though I think it would have worked out better. True Fool says to showcase Beast Gohan's power scale a little more, so we the fans can see fathom the insane amount of power that he supposedly possesses now. Agreed. I do want to see that. I feel like the reason why we didn't see that is because I think they wanted to end the film on a shocking moment and show the power of Gohan Beast, eliminating Cell Max as fast as possible. Unlike the old Gohan, who took his time and screwed up, this Gohan, when Piccolo was holding him back, did the deed, did the damage. So I think that's what they were going for, but I do agree also with that your idea. But I also feel like what they're doing, and I could be wrong about this, is that they're gonna make us wait until later, next movie, an anime arc, a manga arc, something, before we see Gohan Beast truly tested. That's what I think they're gonna do, is make us wait a bit, which hopefully we will see. I don't want this to just be a thing where they forget about it, you know? David Spragus, Dragon Man 64. Oh, he actually leaves a lot of. Okay, I can't read this because I asked for one thing, so I'll read this after I get done recording. But I asked for one thing you could change about the movie. This is again Cell Max being coherent. Nathan Purvis said, "Don't rush. Put out quality stories in the animation." No, this was not rushed. They actually had a couple extra months to do work on it because of the delay of the hack. So I disagree in that this was not rushed at all. But I do agree that you want to put out quality stories in the animation. But it wasn't rushed. The story for this movie was written years ago. Like that wasn't. I wouldn't use the word rushed. But I see your point. Okay. Son Kobe says, the film was brilliant. I would have loved more interactions between the characters like Goten and Trunks. Me too. I definitely would have loved it if they appeared earlier in the movie. Another 5-10 minutes of Beast Gohan. Yeah. Maybe another 3 minutes would have been enough to kind of show off his power. You think about it. 3 minutes is a long time for a fight. You know what I mean? It really is. Like, it doesn't feel like it is, but it is. Especially when it's ongoing. So, 10 minutes might have been too much, man. That would have been like a TV episode, you know? But for a movie, I think 3 to 5 minutes would have been fine. Okay. Julian says, I don't get how this week's not here, the staff beeping. I guess he was busy, bro, but I do see your point. I wish Goten and Trunks actually fused perfectly. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think they purposely did that once again to fuck with us. I think Gotenks being fat was just a joke that they wanted to throw in there. I'm not even sure if Toriyama even wrote that. They haven't released the script for the film yet, so I'm not even sure if it was his idea to do that. It could have been the staffer's idea. But I would have liked it if they did show, you know, true Gotenks. True teen Gotenks or whatever. I feel like they should have had a minute or two scene of Gohan doing his secret training. I'm not ever mad over the cell that we got. I wish they would have shown Gohan doing his secret training. Yeah, what Son Shanzi is talking about is how when Piccolo asked him about using the Makanko Sapo, the special beam cannon, Gohan told him he'd been working on it in secret. That would have been cool if they flashed back to, like, you know, Gohan training or something like that when he said that, like, you know, in the forest blasting rocks or whatever. That would have been cool. That would have been cool if they did that. Hopefully, if Superhero is someday adapted to the anime like Battle of Gods and Resurrection F were, we can see stuff like that because it gives it more time to fluff out the story. Pokemon Trainer Emerald has an interesting one. I would have kept Gamma 2 alive. Felt like he had more potential to be involved in the story. I totally understand. I think they wanted to have at least one of the Gammas die to show that. I think the purpose behind that. I think Toriyama wrote that to show that sometimes there are casualties of battle. You know what I mean? Too many times in Dragon Ball we have people like fake die, and nobody ever really dies anymore. Like, you think about it, right? Everybody dies, gets brought back, dies, gets brought back. You know, very few have not been brought back. 16 was never brought back. I'll do a video on that at some point. And Gamma 2 was the next one. I think that's what they were going for. And again, I'm not defending them. It's just that knowing how they write things and how Toriyama is and Akio Ioku, like, that's the reason as to why they did that. But I agree. I love Gamma 1 and 2's interactions, bro. I wish we had more of that. Dakota with the wanting perfect cell. Chinglish says, to actually have both Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo feel like earned transformations instead of ass pulls that come out of nowhere and have no emotional resonance, which I understand is a hard thing to do in a 90 to 100 minute movie. Exactly, and that's the point, is Chinglish nailed it. You can't, what you're looking for is like Dragon Ball Z type of buildup where you had episodes and episodes and episodes building up to a transformation. Like Goku turning Super Saiyan was teased for like 40 episodes. Gohan doing Super Saiyan 2 was teased from the beginning of Z. I totally would love it if they went back to that kind of writing. I really would. But for a movie, they cut it short. They could always modify this if they ever adapt it. Like I said, it gives them more time to add more things. Like filler, but good filler, just to make things matter more. But I think the Orange Piccolo thing was just done. Basically, what Piccolo did was he made a wish to the dragon that was actually useful to keep the peace in the world. Yes, it was kind of cheap that he got his powers that way, but the Dragon Balls were designed for situations like that by the Namekians. You know what I mean? That's what they were for. And so I don't like the fact that Granola did it and Gas did it, and now Piccolo did it. It just seems like it's been done by too many people. Even though Piccolo only asked for a new form and to get his powers unlocked, not to become the strongest in the universe. That is two different things, folks. I didn't hate it as much. And Gohan Beast definitely needs a little bit more explanation. Hopefully they'll release a guidebook or something that'll give us more information. I got a video coming out about it, though. Blake says, I would change the animation style of that of the Broly movie. Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody wanted. But I think the movie came out better than everybody was expecting. But I would have actually liked a more Shintani-centered movie. Shintani did work on this movie, y'all. Don't forget that. But I would have liked a more Shintani-centered film. 2D. Gohan actually did some training instead of not training at all for the 100th time. Well, he did. He trained privately and didn't tell Piccolo. That was the whole thing of the movie. He was training. It would make sense to his new form instead of an ass pull. He was training. Remember, at the end, he's like, I've been working on the technique. So he was at least working on Piccolo's technique, at the very least that. But he may have been really training. We hopefully, again, if they ever adapt this, we'll get hopefully more training and things like that, like what old school Dragon Ball used to do, and show us more of that progression. Marin, David Jerry Long says, Marin would have been a perfect addition to this movie. Give Pan more inclusive role in the other Z members' lives. Not even a subject, but just a cameo would have done a lot more world building of this new generation. So I think you mean like Marin having a cameo. Yeah, it's more so the kids is what you're talking about. I think that if they were going to do that, I agree with you, and maybe have like more Goten and Trunks stuff to kind of build to the future. But also, they could do that in a future movie as well. I don't know what they have planned, because I can't even predict what's going to happen in Dragon Ball anymore, dude. I can't. It's difficult because you find out new stuff all the time. You know, now there's all kinds of rumors about a web series I didn't even hear about. There's rumors about 2 animes and a movie being worked on. Then somebody said that's not true. It's literally been a mess, which is why I've been very careful how I report things, because unless I get a verified source telling me this is what's happening, I'm just going to say, okay, these guys are saying this, and it is what it is. I'm just going to report it as far as they're saying it, like the guys on Twitter, like AJ, DBS 2019, all those guys. But until I hear it from somebody who I trust myself, I'm not going to say this is happening. I'm just going to say this could happen because they said it. Plus, I want to give credit to whomever gives the story. I don't like taking credit from anybody. Couple more here. Scooter Looter says just the animation because the story itself is a 10 out of 10 Dragon Ball movie. A lot of folks really like this movie, y'all. I still think Broly was a little bit better, but I can see why this one gets a lot of love. If we had that with the style of the animation in the first 2 minutes, it would have been perfect. Yeah, Kubota nailed it. A cleaner form for Beast Gohan, same but with shorter hair. Yeah, Gohan's hair has been the subject of controversy. Also, side note, keep Trunks' hair purple. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, bro. I did a video about that years ago. I couldn't even tell you. This guy, again, wants the cell. Labyrinth said, add a confirmation for the anime returning after the end credits roll. But that's the thing. Unless the anime is returning and they have a date, they're not going to do that. I agree that if they knew exactly when the start date was, right, they could have done that and maybe would have done that. But I don't know if they really would have, because Resurrection F came out and they knew during the final days of that movie being produced that they were going to make Super, like the final days. They could have thrown that in there and they didn't, so it's not their style. But I think if I were in charge of Toei and I had an actual date of when it was coming back, yes, I would totally have put that at the end of the movie to get everybody hyped up. Anyways, y'all check out the community tab. There's a lot of these replies. I'm going to read through a few more of them. There's like power scaling things. People want more Gohan Beast. There's just a ton of different answers. There's also one here, 15 minutes longer so we can see Piccolo in the rubber band base. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things people wanted more of, and I see where y'all are coming from, and maybe one day we will get it. With that being said, I'll bring this video to a close. Thank you, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.